If we're talking impressive debut years for consoles, the Nintendo Switch is right up there. Since launching in 2017, it's smashed records all over the world and is only just getting started. People are drawn to Nintendo for their exclusives. For all the talk of Sony nailing the exclusives this generation, it's also been Nintendo who have flourished with their enviable catalogue of IPs. The newest console is off to a bright start on that front, so it's time to sift through the best Switch exclusives, which, compared to every other console going, are highly unlikely to ever be found elsewhere. Bear in mind, just like other exclusives lists on this channel, we're excluding re-releases and remasters for the sake of variety and to stop annoying technicalities down in the comments. So that means stuff like Donkey Kong, Tropical Freeze and Captain Toad, they're out, they're gone. And, sadly, it means we won't have one more chance to wax lyrical about Breath of the Wild. It's not technically a Switch exclusive, as it's also on the Wii U. Listen, if you fast forward through this video and then at the end leave a comment that says, "Where's Breath of the Wild?" I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy, alright? Starting things off at 10, funnily enough, XENOBLADE Chronicles 2. Another example of just how much you cannot underestimate the capabilities of the Switch. XENOBLADE Chronicles 2 brings all the hallmarks of a JRPG and delivers them in style, featuring enough content to tide you over until the looming end of days, and just the right amount of weirdness and weird outfits. XENOBLADE Chronicles 2 closed out a debut year for the Switch in style. The follow-up to XENOBLADE Chronicles, this sequel takes what made its predecessor so great, sprinkles some of the older games in the franchise's finest moments in for good measure, and with the added bonus, it'll let you become totally enamoured by a party of digital people while sat on the toilet for hours at a time. Trust us, the piles will be worth it. It has a talking tiger for crying out loud. If you don't jive with this one, the re-release of the original XENOBLADE Chronicles on Switch will also turn you into a mole person. Number 9, POKÉMON Sword and Shield. Probably the most controversial mainline Pokemon RPG in the lead up to release. While it's true that Sword and Shield aren't the absolute best ways to catch them all, and not just because of the missing Pokemon, there's still a lot to dive into. The first proper Pokemon RPG on console, Pokemon Sword and Shield sends you out into Galar with a Pokédex to fill and a Pokemon champion to defeat. There's nothing that groundbreaking in that regard, yet its battles look better and bigger than ever. Gigantamax Pokemon are absolutely a gimmick, yet it's always fun to see how your party changes when they grow to a huge size. There's an open world region to explore to collect new Pokemon, as well as loads of neat little touches that enrich the overall experience. Yes, it could and maybe should have been better, but when we started to try to figure out the difference between Teapot painting its way to 8, it's Splatoon 2. If you're looking for a sequel that completely flips the script and changes everything you thought you knew, Splatoon 2 is not that game. The changes are minimal enough that you might have to do a double take on the box to see if the 2 rubs off, but when you have a game this thrilling and somehow also wholesome, a revolution isn't necessary. Nintendo's family-friendly foray into arena shooters swaps out the guns for paint while introducing alliance-based gameplay. If you know Splatoon, you ultimately know what to expect from Splatoon 2, but the maddening brilliance of Salmon Run and the ability to challenge your friend in the same room to a decorative deathmatch is hard to resist. If you think you're good at painting the town red, hey, try to take your skills online in multiplayer and weep. There's even like a weird post-apocalyptic storyline to it, it's pretty out there. Slashing in at 7, it's Astral Chain. When Platinum teamed up with Nintendo to renew their loving and bring Astral Chain exclusively to the Switch, almost everyone with eyes could see that it would be a very good thing indeed. With lashings of Chaos Legion and that distinctive Platinum weirdness, Astral Chain was a smash hit. Playing as your own customizable character who is joined by their twin in a special task force, you are thrown into an utterly mad but wonderful plot involving using chained monsters from another dimension and the imminent destruction of mankind, because that's always fun. Astral Chain's premise is certainly out there, but the real attractions are the people and legions you encounter along the way. As well as traditional combat, players can also indulge in police investigations at crime scenes, further making Astral Chain more than just a simple hack and slash game. Things are looking pretty good for Bayonetta 3 based on this game, whenever Bayonetta 3 does come out this decade, maybe. Entering at number 6, it's Super Mario Maker 2. The original Super Mario Maker was one of the last great lights of the doomed Wii U, it offering players the chance to create their own Mario levels and then make other players the world over scream in frustration. Much like Splatoon 2, Super Mario Maker 2 isn't a grand reinvention of the formula, rather a streamlining exercise that adds new things like a decent story mode, better online play, and extra items to make the torture options that much more robust. Maker mode is where you will spend most of your time in the game, a comprehensive suite of customization options available to you, so comprehensive in fact that someone was able to build a first-person dungeon explorer out of it. I mean, what the hell? Nintendo belatedly added online multiplayer with friends after launch, and the game is due to be supported by its dedicated community for years to come. That is, unless they all drive themselves insane with the craziest and most punishing levels known to man. Halfway through, and it's time for Luigi's Mansion 3. Luigi's Mansion 3 really is one of the most underrated Switch exclusive games out there. While it certainly has its fair share of fans, it deserves even more, what it brings to the franchise formula arguably making it the best entry yet. You once again play as Luigi, but this time backed by Gooigi, a goo version of Luigi who can fit through tight gaps, among other things. The addition of this charming sidekick adds plenty of great spin to the game's puzzles as you look to free Mario and the gang from paintings. Better yet, Luigi's Mansion 3 has some pretty great multiplayer that sees you fighting your way to the top of a hotel. There's always the option of returning to its story for full and utter completion. If you're looking for one of the Switch's best exclusives that will completely and utterly charm you from the word go, Luigi's Mansion 3 may well be it. But, we need a Waluigi game please. 4. Fire Emblem Free Houses. Fire Emblem hasn't had the full fat console RPG it deserves in many years, so when Free Houses was announced, franchise fans were nervously excited to see how it would fare. There was no need for concern at all. Free Houses turned out to be a masterful, life-consuming RPG that made you make some tough choices. Choosing to represent one of 3 nations on a war-torn continent, you play as a mercenary turned teacher at a monastery. As you'd expect, Free Houses is filled to the brim with characters to chat to as you make your way through the school's halls, and deep grid-based combat. Free Houses flips the script in a major way at one point, tugging at your heartstrings as you're forced into an impossible decision. Free Houses will completely engross you if you let it, so much so that we haven't seen some of our Vultures since it launched. If you see anyone walking around with a really nice cape and impossibly big eyes, please let us know. And entering the top 3, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Releasing at a time when the world needed it the most, Animal Crossing New Horizons was well worth the wait for Switch fans, it offering a perfect getaway from real life as you look to build up a tropical island. Or not. The great thing about New Horizons is that there really isn't any pressure on you to do anything. If you want to recreate a town from your favourite anime, feel free. Want to just fish the day away as a form of therapy? That's good too. Want to do all of the work while Tom Nook and the rest of the people sit around and eat sandwiches? Well, tough luck, that's what you're getting. An evolution of the franchise that adds many new twists to the formula, including Nook Miles and expansive crafting, New Horizons really is the gift that just keeps giving. If you're one of the few Switch owners who hasn't tried New Owners yet, clear your schedule and get utterly lost in its charms. This one is more than a C+. Number 2, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. You simply couldn't ask for a better way to experience what Smash has to offer than its most recent offering. An absolutely gigantic game with such a staggering amount of content that it's like wandering into a time portal. And that's just if you want to play the thing entirely solo. Let's not even discuss how deep this thing goes if you want to become the best. Featuring every single character featured in the history of Smash and then a ton of assist trophies, it's basically unrivaled in terms of things to experience, but also has the tightest and best balanced gameplay of the franchise. No more bloody Bayonetta ruining tournaments. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is only really just getting started, but you would expect it to take Melee's crown as everyone's favourite Smash game down the line, as well as everyone's favourite fighting game on the Switch. Only joking, it will be 2050 and people will still die for Melee. And finally, at number 1, it's Super Mario Odyssey. It's both a blessing and a curse for Nintendo that 2 veritable containers for greatest of all time games came out in the same year. It's a blessing because, oh boy, look at all those sales, but also it's a curse because one doesn't see quite as much love as the other. It's lucky then that we have stupidly strict rules, as Super Mario Odyssey might have missed out on another top spot to Breath of the Wild. However, it's ultimately apples and oranges. Breath of the Wild is a more daunting experience, whereas Odyssey is a more joyous, whimsical affair that also completely enslaves you to collecting stars around its quasi-open levels. Every mainline Mario game has a unique hook, Odyssey's being that you can inhabit almost everything in the world, whether that be a distressingly real looking human being, a tank, or even a dinosaur. It's silly and you know exactly where its story is going before the end, but make no mistake, Odyssey is further proof that you cannot underestimate gaming's most iconic mascot. 3D Mario arguably hasn't been this good since the N64, and the Switch might also be Nintendo's best console since then as well. Oh man, what a nightmare to record this, my mouth is so dry and there are so many seagulls outside, But anyway, let me know what you thought of this down in the comments down below, or left or right, or wherever they are, and thanks for watching, and also do the like and subscribe. If you want to see more like this, let me know. Thank you, have a good day.